Hello, Frontline friends and family. Today's Moravian text is Matthew chapter 7, verses 1 to 12. I hope that in the last few days you have been enjoying reading this part of Matthew that we call the Sermon on the Mount. I have definitely really enjoyed it. For me, this is Jesus at his most exciting. He's the wise man, the poet, the philosopher, the orator, the countercultural warrior, slicing through society, law, religious orthodoxy, class structures with words that have rung out through the centuries as simply impossible to ignore. It may only be 12 verses today, but there's still no way you can fit all of it into a 5-minute reflection. So I've chosen just one, verse 12. So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the prophets. It's hard to imagine a principle to lead your life by that could be simpler and at the same time any more transformative. And there are 2 points that I'd like to dwell on. Number 1, although it's challenging, this is a principle that most people, whether they have a faith in Jesus or not, would agree is a good idea. Treat people how you want to be treated. On the face of it, it's a magical, simple solution to all the problems of the world. And they'd also agree that it's challenging to stick to it, just like we agree. And this principle, it is great for discussions with people who don't share our faith, when we're talking about moral dilemmas or sharing our concerns about difficult decisions. So let's do that. Let's boldly say to people things like, when I'm in that sort of situation, I try to remember the principle of do to others what you would have them do to you. It's what Jesus taught. It's not easy, but it seems wise to me. Those points of relatively common ground that at the same time could be life-changing, they can be brilliant points of connection with people. Number 2, surely this is a principle that can be active and not just passive. I am really challenged by this thought. I could apply this principle when I'm totally stuck and unsure what to do in a difficult situation. That's a good thing to do. Or I could start today by asking myself how I would most like other people to treat me, to speak to me, to help me, to serve me, to encourage me, to thank me, to include me. We all know what it feels like to be well treated, how good it feels. Then I could actively think, who could I treat that way? Who could I buy a drink for, do a job for, give advice to, spend time with, do the hoovering for, send a message to, pray with or pray for, and tell them I'm praying for them? Who could I compliment on their work or their character? We all know that that will be a good use of our time and energy. So let's make it a priority today. The context for the Sermon on the Mount, back in chapter 5, is Jesus being pursued by the crowds. Perfect strangers were seeking him out in their thousands to hear his wisdom and his advice. And this is what he had to say. His responses are still here for us today. They've lasted 2,000 years. Let's put them into action today. We can trust him that we won't regret it. I hope you have a wonderful day. God bless.